Our next guest voted against the stimulus package and says that America is being put into a financial straitjacket. Joining us from Washington, D.C. is Senator John Barrasso, Republican of Wyoming. Senator, good to see you.
Great to be with you.
All right, so let's see. You say a tight jacket. In fact, Senator Judd Gregg this morning said he described it as a financial tsunami. All these things don't make me feel very good, but the bottom line is, how do we fix it?
Well, the concern is, look, the stock market is down 50%, the lowest point in 12 years. Americans right now need to have confidence instilled. Tonight, the president's going to address the nation. I'm sure there's going to be a large crowd. I've just gotten back from Wyoming. People have absolute concerns about this. We're a resilient nation. We will come back stronger than ever. But we have to get our financial house in order. And the amount of spending that we're doing right now doesn't work at our own homes, and it doesn't work for America.
You know, it's interesting. Your state, when you look at the numbers, has withheld or withstood this economic crisis better than just about anybody. I want to read some of these statistics because it's actually quite remarkable. Your unemployment rate in December, 3.4%, half of the nation's, a little less than half of the nation's average. And your foreclosures, 1 in almost 3,000 versus the average in the United States, 1 in 466. What is happening in Wyoming that these statistics are so terrific, frankly?
Well, Wyoming gets it right and Washington gets it wrong. In Wyoming, we balance our budget every year. We don't do any deficit spending. People live within their means. That's a great model for America. In Washington, in the legislature, and I was in the state Senate there for 5 years in Wyoming, bills are on a single topic. You can't lard them up. You can't fill them in with all these extraneous spending, things that would never pass on their own. Everything really does see the light of day in Wyoming. In Washington, it just doesn't work that way.
Okay.
Wyoming is a terrific place, and we do it right.
All right, so Senator, how do you fix it? You know, I have talked to all different members of Senator Chuck Grassley. We had this conversation a week ago, and I said, all right, it was partisan politics in this last stimulus package, but you've got to move ahead. You've got to work together. What are you going to do to make sure that the American people believe that Senate Republicans have just as big a vested stake in the future as the president, who right now, his approval numbers are still impeccably strong?
Everybody in America has a huge incentive to get it right. We need to get it right, not just for us, but for our kids and our grandkids. When I was at a high school in Kemmerer, Wyoming, one student said, "Who's going to pay for this?" And another student shouted back, "Well, you are," to the other student. That's the concern. We don't want this large debt on our kids and our grandkids. We need to get our financial house in order, and the way you do that is you cut spending. You know, you don't go on a diet right after you had the big meal. Well, we had a big meal last week. Now all of a sudden we're talking about financial responsibility. We have the largest spending bill in the history of the country. It wasn't timely, targeted, and we're temporary. I think that this was too big, and you know, you really got to look at that and say, do we need to do this spending that's not going to come into play for the next 8 years?
Okay, so we can disagree about, you know, you or any other member of Congress about what you like or dislike about the bill. The bill's been passed into law. The president has made a gesture by inviting many members to the White House yesterday to discuss how to address the federal budget deficit. Is he on the right track? Is he moving in the right direction? And will House and Senate Democrats meet you halfway?
Well, I think that is the right direction to go, and I hope they do meet us at least halfway. You know, you look at that financial responsibility conference yesterday, and at least according to the papers this morning, the Democrat leader, Senator Reid, wasn't there. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, got there late and left early. So if you take a look at that and say, where is the direction coming from? I would hope that the leaders in the Democrat Party in Capitol Hill pay attention to this fiscal responsibility issue, because it is key to getting our financial house in order.
You know, Senator, at the very beginning, you said the markets are at levels we haven't seen in 12 years. The president this evening will do, we don't want to call it the State of the Union, but he's going to speak to the American people in a serious address this evening. What does he need to do to bring back, number one, confidence, and number two, calm the fear, anger, and anxiety in the marketplace?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Every president needs to instill confidence in the American people, and I support that effort. What we saw last week was secrecy and scare tactics used to get a large spending bill passed. And I think that those scare tactics, you use the word fear, those are the things that have put Americans into great levels of concern. Because if they sense that from their elected leader and their president, well, that's going to go all across this country and ripple across our nation. So we need to instill confidence. We are a great nation. We are a resilient nation. We will do well. We will come out of this stronger than ever. But we need to take the tough decisions right now to limit our spending. And I think that raising taxes is the wrong way to go, because that's taxes on small business, and small business is the engine that drives our economy.
Oh, that is right about small businesses. Oh my goodness, what you know, a difficult environment it is for them. I wish there was more in that bill that addressed them. Senator Barrasso, Republican
Yes.
of Wyoming, thank you very much for joining me this morning, and continue those good numbers in your home state. I think if we could all do that, that'd be great news for this country.
Great to be with you this morning. Thank you.